Yeah.
Yeah, and just to me, it's just, I'm not saying it doesn't work, it's just not the most efficient way. Look, I can walk to California or I can get in a fucking car, I'll get there either way. But there's a better way to go.
Yeah.
What are y'all trying to do today, lifting weights?
Same as whatever you do, man. Whatever's on the cards for around here. It's just cool to see if it is.
I'm going to do a little bit more cleans.
Yeah.
Since I'm already warm and doing them.
Yeah.
I'll probably squat. Today's typically a squat day for me. So, but I keep it pretty loose. I mean, it's Wednesday. I'll leave Friday, go compete.
Yeah, one of the things we were going to ask is what that looks like between competing on the weekend, traveling a long way, coming back, trying to train again, traveling again to compete again. You're not beating yourself up.
Well, so a lot of people with no track background, I think really struggle with it mentally.
Constant competition.
Yeah. I mean, track athletes compete at that frequency.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, it's the same as football players. We play every weekend, and you got to get to the next game.
Right, but you know, with track especially, you're really, since there's going to be, I mean, how many track meets do you do? I do about 20 contests.
Yeah.
And so there's only really 3 that I need to be at my peak for.
Yeah.
And so like early seasons games, like if they're, game in the Carolinas and it's early season, I mean, I've got to make the decision that I'm not going to be my best.
Yeah, and there's peaks and troughs and there's tapering off for that.
I can't peak for 20 weeks.
Yeah.
So I need to throw my best in August, not be world class in May.
Yeah, and you talk to games athletes, you see where somebody like Rich is at in March when the Open's on,
right.
And they're going to throw him on, online for Open 15.1 against Matt Fraser, but he's at a different stage in his training there. And he's not going to be games ready in March as he is in July.
And he shouldn't be. If he is, he's stupid.
Yeah.
And clearly, he's not.
He's not. He's got something figured out.
It doesn't matter who you are. Top level performance, like trying to dial it into that tee. It's a different story. And when you're coming up to that, like, how do you sort of feel? How did you feel the other week before you went to France? How are you sort of feeling?
I felt okay. And I mean, I try to keep a pretty relative mindset about it. I'm excited to compete. I really do want to win. But at the same time, I'm pretty aware that in the scheme of life experience, I got a free trip to Paris with my wife for 12 days. And so I started traveling for work a lot, but I would drive. So I would drive to Philly, which is like a 19-hour drive from here. I would drive to Rhode Island, which is a 27 from here. Through Ohio, a couple different places. And so,
because they didn't want to put you on a flight or what?
But no, it was just because as a sales guy, it was easy because of the area I was covering. It made more sense for me to, work my way up and hit, I could hit Nashville and I could hit the Carolinas, and then I could hit Virginia
just do it as a
in one trip. And
sort of like what we're doing.
Exactly, except I would do it once a quarter.
Yeah.
And so I'd done it for a little while and, was trying to train on the road occasionally. This was still when I was doing strongman. And
getting thrown out of 24-hour places for deadlifting.
Right, I didn't even have a lot of those.
Yeah.
Back then, no.
And so, it's not like it was that fucking long ago. Not like I'm some ancient. And so, one of the first places I trained, I guess, was Sornex. Got a hold of Bert. He was a thrower in the SEC, as I was too. And so, hey man, I'm going to be out there for work. We'd love to come in and train. And so I went in and trained, and then I called Mark Bartley, and he's in town, so I trained with him. And everybody's just really been welcoming. And a big part of it is, sure, can act like a fucking new guy. Everyone's happy to talk to you.
But also ask. Hey, why are we here today?
Yeah, because you asked.
Yeah.
Instead of assuming you can't do that.
But you know what we've found in whatever the field is? If somebody's worth learning from, they're probably going to share that and their time. If they're not, if they're really closed off and are a dick about it, they don't want you asking questions because they don't have a response.
Yeah. Sure. Maybe not the guys you want to be around anyway. So
no, that's very true.
That's always the thing. And I guess.
Are you?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Like, you know, the sorts of guys, when I say work with, it's not just work with, you're friends with them now too.
Oh yeah, now, I mean, it's,
quality of person.
you know, that's something I said too, you know, it's one thing that somebody says, you know, like a Mark Bell or Kelly says, like, yeah, you know, stop by.
Yeah.
It's another thing to not be a fucktard that they want to hang out with you a second time.
Yeah, we were sort of talking about that on the way over.
You know,
you come around and it's like, hey, like, speaking to him. Oh, excuse me, Mr. Vincent. Oh, such a creep.
No, man, I'm not pretty fucking low-key, like I'm sweating to death in my fucking garage. Anyone wants to share this environment is more than welcome. Take that back. I've had a couple people send messages and I'm like,
No, not you.
No.
for the most part,
I'm not in Baton Rouge today. I'm not.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but that, and so that's a big part of the problem is I'll actually get, you know, a message from someone who's moderately local,
Yeah.
and they'll want to train, or they like want to train with it.
And be here all the time.
Yeah. And I mean, I've had one training partner in the last 6 years, and once he got out of college, he was no longer a training partner.
Yeah.
See you later.
He just didn't. He just had other shit to do.
Your thing is that you do your own thing.
Right, but part of it is I'm terribly selfish. That's why I have a gym in my garage.
Yep.
And so I'm not home very often, and the problem is if I decide like, oh fuck, I've got an hour, I feel like training, I'm gonna go train. I don't want to sit and call and then say like, hey, does this time work?
Yeah. Well, man, do you want me to get donuts on the way?
That's what we speak to, like, you know, so many CrossFit gyms, like, just bang, this is the class time, this is all you got. It's like, what if somebody's like 10 minutes late, what is that? And that's one of the things we have in our facilities. We come on, you got the time to come and work with.
To be a better Olympic lifter. And what ended up happening is he had me squat 3 times that week. So I made it through 2 weeks of his training, and then I sat down and I was like, nope, I'm not doing this. And he's like, what do you mean? And I said, man, I can front squat 5 1/4. How about you fix my clean technique until we get something up I can't stand up with?
Yeah.
You know, my best clean is under 400. I can push press 412. You know, I can front squat 5 1/4.
All we need to do is get it up here.
Yeah. Fix me to get it to here.
Yeah, and that's always, we were talking about that at...
And that's the same for throwing.
Yeah.
You know, until technique is to a point when enough percentage of it's going to translate, fix technique. That's where you're going to make the biggest fucking gains. But instead, you know, coaches will do crazy shit to me that doesn't translate, where they'll, like I've seen people do, like a safety squat, you know, squat bar on your back, and then have another bar like in the snatch grip. Oh man, it's just.
It's going to work on some fucking queer posture, but that'll be it.
Yeah, and just to me, it's just. I'm not saying it doesn't work. It's just not the most efficient way. Look, I can walk to California, or I can get in a fucking car. I'll get there either way. But there's a better way to go.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, until your technique is going to be good enough, spend time doing that. I mean, that's a reason the Russians spend
Particularly
15 years building technique, because then they don't have to worry about technique anymore.
And what was your first point? Sport specific.
Right.
What's your sport? Yeah, so that almost that point of, well, you've gotten lost with what sport specific is. You say, let's do sport specific work. And it's like, well, no, maybe we just do the stuff that you need to do. Rather than, okay, if you are a powerlifter, I saw you fucking do it. Right?
Yeah, I mean, we had coaches, I had a track coach that had us do like side snatch.
Yeah, why?
Why?
Yeah.
Why don't we just go throw the fucking 8 for a while?
Yeah.
Like if you want to make me, like I need sport specific strength for the shuffle, let's go through the 8 kilo.
Yeah.
Maybe make me throw it left-handed.
Yeah. Work on some asymmetry.
Yeah.
Have a look at how you move, and how we could maybe get you to move better or in a better position.
You know, instead, the two of us have spent 10 fucking years never using my left side, you know, to actually push. It's all block. So there's going to be some discrepancies.
That's always the case with CrossFitters, though. They keep getting these Olympic lifts, and they get stronger and stronger, and we'll go up because they're getting stronger, but it's ugly as shit.
Yeah.
Because they're not working on the position, you know, like, that's their snatch. Like, it's always going to be this on toes without thing, because you've gone, well, efficiency, right? Maybe if we teach you how to move correctly, we go, okay, the shoulder can't get in that position, let's address that. How's the hip capsule looking? Like, you're going to be able to lift more weight if you can get under it.
True, but I think there's an issue too that a lot of guys get into CrossFit and don't have the years of training under the belt.
Ever worked with Olympic coach? I mean, of course you have.
A little bit.
Everyone, but
Yeah, a little bit.
because this is something we were talking with a couple of guys about the other day. Again, that problem with say genetic potential or where you'd be strong to. Like, you know, your Olympic lift numbers, even in a power capacity, aren't too shabby.
No, they're not bad.
There's guys going to nationals here in America.
Yeah, I could be a national level guy.
Yeah.
Probably not too much struggle.
So I suppose that's where you go with that again. So.
Well, I mean, I've gotten that question a lot. You know, why not focus on Olympic lifting a bit? Yeah, you'd be pretty good at it. And kind of the response I've had to people is, I'm already the best in the world at a sport no one gives a shit about. I don't need to be 10th.
Yeah. I suppose there's got to be a lot of that too, and we've known so many guys who have been top level athletes, or you know, maybe sort of in that middle run, and they're at a different stage of their life now. There's nothing wrong with doing the stuff that you enjoy, and you can sort of live a good life,
Right.
be a strong athlete. The only person you're competing with is yourself then in that response anyway. If you're happy with what you're doing and you're achieving, awesome, right?
And man, Highland Games is a cool loophole of athletics.
Yeah.
Like, there's a couple dudes making good money in strongman,
Yeah.
and I'd say probably Kim and I have made the best money in Highland Games the last couple of years.
Yeah.
But it's a fuckload better money than I was gonna make any other physical sport I was gonna compete
Yeah.
So
in.
if you can do that on top of
Right.
life, that's a pretty cool setup.
Oh yeah. It's great. I'm very aware of what lucky hand I got dealt with the Highland Games. You know, for whatever reason, my skill set did not make me a very good shot putter. I was an okay strongman, I'm an okay Olympic lifter, but it's made me a good Highland Games athlete.
Yeah.
So-
sort of that if you could achieve something, would be best at one division,
Right.
versus like you say 10th somewhere else.
Exactly.